All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be breaking down the top picks for round 4 of the PGA Championship, both for showdown purposes and also for betting purposes as well. Let's go ahead and get into it. And so starting off right away with just looking at the top showdown plays here for round 4, it is a pretty straightforward slate. It really just comes down to whether or not Scotty wins. And obviously he's going to be the highest owned player on the slate. He typically closes out wins like this. In simple, we should be playing Scotty Scheffler. I don't mind the idea of getting to a little combination of someone like Bryson and Jon Rahm. They should be able to score as well in some lines where you are fading Scotty Scheffler here. That's kind of the rank that we're looking at here. But then from there, we are probably chasing some more value that we have. Maybe Alex Noren, Siwoo Kim. Really, the rest of the golfers that are going to be on the list are going to be golfers that are going to be pretty good values with how they are currently placed. Because obviously, we need those position points. And for the most part, I don't really necessarily see any of those golfers falling off too much in terms of how they're playing. And if we just go ahead and take a peek at the betting page and see kind of who's the most likely to win via the odds as well, that's kind of going to explain another path that we're going with in terms of the golfers that we are targeting. And it's going to be basically the exact same stuff. So Scotty, and then if you're not playing Scotty, I do think Rahm and Bryson is the way to go. And then obviously Alex Noren, second most likely to win via the Vegas odds. So you want to be targeting him. Any golfers that could potentially rise from what they are currently at? Probably not. And so it's probably just going to be very concentrated. Siwoo Kim, Davis Riley, JT Poston, Alex Noren, and Scotty Scheffler. That's going to be pretty chalky. But let's just go ahead and take a peek at what the 9-to-5 lineup builder is telling us is going to be the best approach to go with. Now, what's interesting here is that we are still going to see that Rory is actually projected pretty well. I'm going to give him a bump real quick, but he's projected to play pretty well in round 4. That wouldn't be shocking after not having the best round 3. But the issue with Rory again is kind of that driver stuff. I know some people are trying to make that a bigger deal than it is in terms of like it conforming, or they're probably just doing it for clicks. Talking about how he doesn't deserve his major win because of that. I don't really buy into that, but anytime you switch equipment, it typically, especially when you're hitting a good driver really well or something, or any club really well, and it just breaks or you can't use it no longer, that's when you start to see kind of the week that he's having. It's just a new driver. Even though it's the exact same, it's still a little different. And so I think that's the issues that we are seeing with him this weekend. So I don't know if I necessarily need to get to him, but regardless, let's actually take a quick peek at the best values. So as expected, Davis Riley, Lucas Glover, Sam Stevens, JT Poston, Adam Scott. So Davis Riley is probably going to be one of the higher owned players, I would assume. But let's just go ahead and generate this, just get that kind of raw run for you guys so you guys can see what that's looking like. So yes, Scotty, Siwoo, Wyndham Clark, Denny McCarthy, JT Poston, Adam Scott. So kind of interesting there. Again, I probably would have thought Davis Riley would be in there. And let's actually just take a peek at how much a Davis Riley this is naturally giving us. Only about 5% actually. Okay, so obviously if we're doing, limiting the amount of golfers that we're on, we're not going to be on 100% Scotty. But let me show you guys how we would go about doing this. So typically speaking, I like to do 3 unique players. Maybe for round 2, we only need to get the 2 unique players, which is the norm. I might do 30% max exposure for the field like I typically would. I might do 1% randomness, and I'm going to do general or gradual randomness as well. Click on that. But what we're going to do is, because we know we want to get to a lot of Scotty Scheffler, I would just like 80% of Scotty here is what I'm going to type in. And so we put the general max exposure at 30% for the whole player pool, but we're then telling the data that we want to get to 80% of Scotty still. So I'm going to generate this, and then you guys can kind of see that how that works out. Oh, and so really interesting. So it's actually only pulling in 55% of him, which is a little bit interesting. And so it's just going by limiting the players that we can be on here. And let me zoom in. It's giving us more fair and balanced lineups instead, which is interesting there. And that's probably partially due to the gradual randomness and also the randomness that we put in there. So if you want to get to more of Scotty, there's 2 things you can do. Really just bump up his projection more, or you could just lock him in to that 80% as well. But again, that's just an example that I wanted to show you guys for that. So let's go ahead now and get into some of the betting picks that we were getting. We're going to start with the 3-ball bets. And so for round 3 balls, it ended up being 50% on the day. Tom Kim shot +4, tied with Justin Lauer. A little bit annoying there, so that one did not hit. And then we had the other bet hit pretty darn easily there. I think it was Davis Riley. That one ended up hitting pretty easily, but it was a weird day in which there ended up being 3-ball bets instead of the 3-way bets that we're going to touch on in this video because of the weather delay. But looking at the top bets that we're getting here for round 4, I don't know if I necessarily love them too much, just in the sense that they're these 3-way bets that aren't going to pay out as much. And so like we look at someone like Sam Stevens to beat Richard Bland, I'm fine with that, but it's only going to pay out, you bet 1 unit, you're going to get 1.19 back here. I don't exactly like that. Brian Campbell to win his group, I'm okay with that. Okay, that's going to pay out a little bit better, but I don't want to go too crazy with this. We're already up 3-ball bets wise this week, and sitting pretty darn good there. I think we just go with these 3 here. Kevin Yu versus Justin Lauer, we'll take that, and then we're good. Let's just move on and jump into some head-to-head bets and seeing if we're getting any good ones there, which we have not this week. It's been pretty darn annoying head-to-head bet wise. All right, and so what we're going to do here, as always, is we're going to click on, the most popular ones, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, and then we're going to sort by plus EV bets here. So, the plus EV bets, if we have any, we're not getting any of those, not too shocking. Let's look at where the 9 to 5 data likes it a little bit more. Cameron Young to beat Højgaard, not terrible there, minus 115. I think we can get to that one. And then Victor Hovland over Terrell Hatton. I don't know if I necessarily love that one, but you can get Victor Hovland at minus 105, which is an interesting number to me. I'm kind of indifferent about that, but I'm fine with that. Same thing here with JT Poston, minus 105 to beat JJ Spawn. I think I'd be okay with that. But after that, that's really it. We got 3 decent head-to-head bets, and really, let's just go with these 2. I feel more comfortable with these 2. I don't know if we necessarily need to get to that Victor Hovland one. He's having a good week. To me, it's still a little bit shocking. I need to see a little bit more out of him to truly trust him as a play. And so that is worth calling out. And so again, guys, unfortunately, as I'm recording this video, I can't record it too late. We're not getting that many prop bets just in general for PrizePicks and or Underdog. And because of that, we're not getting any prop line differences as well. As always, that's kind of the starting point. So just be checking this. If you guys are a 9 to 5 member, make sure you're placing the best prop bets prior to placing them. But really, we're only getting Rory under fairways hit of 8.5. And I don't know, kind of just the fact that he has been struggling to hit fairways this week. I could see him having a good Sunday. The data likes him to have a good Sunday as well. So not necessarily a bet that I think we need to get to. And then we're looking at Jon Rahm to get under 12.5 fairways hit as well. Not necessarily a bet that I need to get to, but let's just take a further peek at those 2. And so if we just go up by round with Rory, starting with his driving accuracy, hit 7 in round 3. In round 2, hit 7, and then in round 1 did end up hitting 9 there. And say hello to my cat here, making a guest appearance there. But yeah, not necessarily a bet that I feel like we need to go out of our way to target, but also not a bet that we need to avoid. I would say that is the correct line. It might come down to how aggressive he is off the tee, trying to get into, some good positions and whatnot. And it's just, how is he going to be going into that round 4? Mostly a bet that I probably want to stay away from. Then we go ahead and get into Jon Rahm. In round 3, we do see that he hit 13 there. And then in round 2, hit 12. And then in round 1, did end up getting to 12 as well. So, none of those, obviously it's like a 53% likelihood to hit. I would say both of those are correct at a 53% likelihood to hit. And I would want to be on the sides that we were being told to be on, but not necessarily bets that we need to go crazy with as well. And so hopefully we get better bets as the night and morning progresses tomorrow. I'm sure we're going to have an Underdog promo again where it is that boosted payout. So just be on the lookout for that as well. We want to take advantage of that if possible. And then, as I'm recording this, for price purposes, we're really not getting any edges there. I do find the lines that we're getting, those strokes wise, 69.5 for Scotty and also Rory to be interesting. Maybe the thought with Scotty is the fact that he's not going to have to play as aggressive with that 3-shot lead to the point where he's going to play a little bit more conservative, and maybe he doesn't need to get to, 2 under. I don't know. That's a strange one to me. I think I like that under a decent amount actually. And then Rory, same thing. That doesn't correlate with the fairways hit one. So if you think he's actually going to play well, you could bet on his under 69.5. Those do kind of stand out to me there. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Quick and easy one. Be on the lookout for next week's video as well. We got the Charles Schwab Championship, which is always a fun one for me. If you guys are familiar with 9 to 5, you've been around for a while, I used to do the Charles Shaw Challenge, which is where we would chug a bottle of Trader Joe's wine. And that would be the challenge. Whoever did it faster won. I'm undefeated in that market. Kind of want to do it again this week, but that's just probably not going to happen. But just be on the lookout for that. It's a fun tournament there. All right, thanks for watching. Good luck. Oh yeah, if you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, make sure to head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to those for $10 a month. All right, that's all. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.